third most costly bill, which is cited in the report, and this bill is going to be considered when the General Assembly reconvenes in September, is a controversial and high-profile paid time off mandate, also sponsored by our good friend Mr. Regenberg, which would add $48.7 million on employers, an additional burden. Now, a companion bill in the Senate was sponsored by Majority Whip Mary Ellen Goodwin, and both of these bills would force all employers with 15 or more employees to provide a new benefit of 1 hour paid sick leave or leave time for every 30 hours worked, and increasing gradually to 40 hours, accumulating year to year, or paid at the end of the year if the employee does not use those earned days. And if the absence is for 3 days or fewer, no reason for that time off is required. And it would give state access to all hourly records of all employees. Let's say that I'm an owner of a small business. I'm very successful. I employ 14 people, including myself. My backlog grows, and I could add another worker or two, which means I would be mandated then to provide paid sick days for everyone. I can offer my present employees some overtime to clear the backlog or add new workers. Which am I likely to do, Mike?
Well, you're right. When you make the cost of hiring somebody too prohibitive, you're going to hire fewer people. It's just almost the same argument as a minimum wage argument. But there's a bigger issue here. There's a number of issues with this one. And this one, of the 15 bills, this is the one that is on the docket, and within the next month, we'll know whether or not this becomes law or not. Now, the House version of the bill, admittedly, is less intrusive than the Senate version of the bill. But both are bad. There's not the business of the government to tell employers what benefits they must provide to their employees. Most employers are good people, understand, and if they can, they probably offer some kind of paid time off or flexible time off or whatever you want to call it. There's all kinds of different names for it. But some businesses just can't afford it. I've talked with them. The convenience store owner who can only have one person, if that person, 1 hour before just decides they don't want to show up because their aunt is sick, and they're still going to get paid, they'll take the time off. Or the production company, a manufacturing company, has to meet a deadline. If 2 or 3 of their 12 people, like the one guy I talked to in Coventry, don't show up, they miss their production deadline. They can't afford to offer anything but some kind of planned time off. Of course, if people get sick and they miss time off, they can get the time off. They just don't have to, the employer doesn't have to pay them for it. What has been missing so again, it's immoral. One media person asked me, well, isn't it the decent thing to do to offer that? And again, I said, like we said, by whose definition of decency? I think it's indecent to tie employers' hands. So why is their version of decency trump my version of decency or the employer's version of decency? So again, it's not the business of government to legislate morality here, right? This is what they're doing. This government by political correctness has got to stop in this state. But the $48 million we just put in this report, that's the first time that number's ever been exposed. We've been talking about this bill all year, and nobody ever took the time to say, what is it actually going to cost the employers of our state? So we did it. $48 million. And that's just for the employers who don't offer it now. No. So you're talking about a few thousand employers bearing the cost of $48 million. Do you think all of them are going to be able to stay in business or stay in this state? Again, they don't care about the cost. This is the problem with progressivism. They only care about whether it sounds good or feels decent or
provides an equitable outcome.
I was just going to say it. Bingo. Boy, we're on the same wavelength here. I was just going to say the social equity. But you have to look at the cost. Everything should be a cost versus benefit analysis. And $48, so we're hoping this $48 million figure we can get out there, we can influence what's going to happen in the next month when they come back, because they will be pressured to pick one version of those two bills or some compromise of those two bills. We say anything above zero, 10 million's too much. 20 million's too much. Certainly $48,713,985 is too much.